Yo, what's up, guys? I'm joined by my good friend Charles, Crypto Charles. What's up, brother? How are you?
Fantastic. Just getting up. Actually, I was up pretty late last night working,
Hmm.
so I'm just getting the day started, but ready to hit it hard.
Yeah, good stuff, man. And we were speaking a bit earlier before this, but again, like I have to congratulate you on the Crypto Entrepreneur podcast, bro. Like you killed it since the last time we spoke. You created something great. Seriously.
Man, I really appreciate that. I think the efforts are finally starting to pay off. We're
Hmm.
finally starting to see some progress, and it's
Good.
really shaping up to be something that I want it to be.
Yeah, I mean, what's like for you already have, let's say the framework is fully there. So what do you envision adding things to it, or is this what it's going to be, and just bring on kick-ass guests and keep it growing in that sense?
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know if you've noticed lately, but I've started to kind of explore new guests. Like we've done a couple Amazon episodes. We're kind of reaching out to more of the traditional finance guys. We're getting some trading episodes going.
Hmm.
So kind of trying to branch out a little bit, just because when I started it, I want to do crypto entrepreneurs, and that's it.
Hmm.
And then I kind of slowly started to realize that there aren't that many of them, and they come and go very quickly.
Right.
And it's harder to get some of those big guys. Like if I reached out to Brian Armstrong, I'm an anonymous account on Twitter. I don't think he has the time or want or need to come on my show
Hmm.
until it gets much bigger. So I've started to branch out a little bit, but I just want to continue to kind of push that, hey, your 9 to 5 isn't the only way you should be making money. You should always be looking at new options, especially with what's just happened. A lot of people have been laid off,
Hmm.
or at least aren't working right now. A lot of people are working from home. Their companies are going to start struggling. A lot of them are going to get let go in the near future, or at least I assume so.
Right.
And to be able to bring in kind of some income on the side is a great way to supplement that kind of un- uncertainty, I would say. And
Hmm.
then eventually the plan is to just have people, learn how to grow these businesses and break away from that 9 to 5 eventually.
So that's, I guess, the mission statement, the ethos behind your podcast.
Yeah, exactly. And I think started small, smaller time guests. It was a
Hmm.
lot of stuff that like, you could easily attain. You could say, "Hey, I could start a business like this
Hmm.
tomorrow," or with a little bit of planning and prep. And
Right.
the newer goal is to kind of start getting those titans of industry to teach you how to really build up huge businesses. So you can start with the newer or older stuff, I should say. Learn about the basics, how to start something small, and then you can learn from these guys who have grown their companies into massive companies to kind of try to make that transition yourself.
Who would you say up till now was the quote unquote biggest guest, or the one with the most influence? I don't know how you want to put it.
Yeah, it's crazy. I actually live near Michael Nye, and
Right, right, right.
I know he catches a lot of flack, and a lot of people are on the fence about him. But he was one of the biggest guests, and I think that was right out the gate. He agreed to come on,
Hmm.
just in terms of follower, social presence, and then moving forward. I've tried to start getting a lot of the guys who are bigger on Twitter, have a very engaged audience. And I feel like those are a lot of the traders. So, like a lot of the PDF guys, I think those numbers are what, or those episodes are what do the biggest
Hmm.
numbers.
Hmm. Yeah, because
Trying
people
to
want to
think.
know how to make money, and a large part of your audience are traders, investors in the crypto space. So that only makes sense, right?
Exactly, exactly. I've had, a couple people who run some larger exchanges.
Hmm.
One of my sponsors, CoinFlex, I had their CEO on, the Dudex guys as well. So those guys are like
Nice.
they're building bigger businesses. I wouldn't say
Hmm.
that their social presence is as big, but I think
Right,
that they
right.
have a lot of power and influence in the industry.
Yeah, it's really cool. Yo, to everyone on Periscope, thank you for joining. Twitch, across all platforms. We really appreciate that you're here. You're getting a lot of love as well in the chat right now.
Am I?
Yeah, man. People
I
people
really
like what you're
appreciate it,
doing.
guys. It means a lot.
For real. And what I love most about you is that I truly feel that it's authentically you. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
the mission was never to, well, obviously money's a part of it, but I feel that you're coming from a very good place and that you genuinely want to help people, more importantly, through that.
I do want to see people succeed. And at first, I'm going to be honest, I think monetization was the first goal.
Hmm.
It's still very high on the priority list,
Yeah.
but after I quit my job, when I realized, like, holy shit, this is what I had been missing out on.
Hmm.
This is how miserable I was at my job. That was when it was really like, I got to get more people involved in this. I got to teach people how to do this kind of stuff.
Okay, so it was just because I remember you. I believe you were working at a bank, if I'm not mistaken. I don't remember what you were doing exactly there, but it had been a longer time position, and I remember you had been thinking of leaving it for a while. And when you took that first step, that took some balls. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so I studied finance at school. Right out of college, got a job as an underwriter, commercial underwriter,
Hmm.
and pretty much did that my whole, I guess, traditional job career. I took a break after my first year out of college. I said, I just need to experience life a little bit more, kind of figure out if this is what I want to do. Came back, was like, yes, this is what I want to do. Worked for another 2 years, then realized, maybe not. And that's when I decided, got to get out of here, got to start my own thing, got to at least give it a shot. Because you know, I worked with a lot of small business owners as an underwriter, as a middle market bank.
Hmm.
And we're working with, I'd say, smaller businesses in the Southern California area.
Hmm.
And when I talked to a lot of these guys, they were like, it was something that I needed to do earlier in life. I needed to start my own business. I was very scared to initially do it. But then there's these guys who have been running businesses for 20 plus years who said they'd never go back to working, a traditional job.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, bite the builders in chat. He's like, Charles is my dad.
Oh man, I'm honored and humbled by everyone who's tuning in right now. Really appreciate it.
Likewise, and if anyone in chat has any questions for Charles, please feel free to
Uh-oh.
feel free to ask.
Uh-oh.
LS wants to know, hey Charles, did you actually lose your all your sponsors or just Roundly? I don't know if you're free to talk about that or what.
No, so yeah, we just mentioned it. Two of the sponsors right now. I actually haven't heard back from CoinFlex, and fingers crossed that can continue. I still have crypto.com. Big shout out to those guys. I'm going to shill them really quickly.
Go for it,
They've been
man.
doing a lot.
The floor is yours.
Yeah, and then the Roundly guys, we had talked, and they're a smaller company. I'm trying to help them grow. Scott Melker, I've had him on the podcast. He's also got a podcast that is sponsored by them. And so we were doing, most of the marketing effort, I'd say, on social media, or at least on Twitter. And they're just a much smaller company, and with that huge drop off in Bitcoin, they're kind of just reining in the marketing budget a little bit.
Hmm.
Going to see how things play out over the next couple months. We talked, it could be a potential for them to come back on in the future, which I would love because I'm a huge proponent of their business and their service.
So as well, I know that and I mean this in a very good way. Like you don't have a filter. You know what I mean? Like
No.
you tweet what you think, you say what you feel, and I like that about you. Has that gotten in the way of any potential sponsorships that you really wanted, or that?
Oh, I guarantee it. Like I mean, like there's got to be those companies out there who look at my Twitter and they're like, we do not want to associate with this kind of brand at all.
Mm-hmm.
And that was one thing that when I talked to a lot of the quote unquote influencers when I first started was, they said it kind of started to feel like a job when they were working for their sponsors, not with their sponsors. And they always just told me, kind of continue to be yourself. Don't change yourself for your audience, for your sponsors. And so I didn't. And I've been fortunate enough to find a couple companies so far. It hasn't been long since I've actually been monetizing the podcast. But I found a few that were, A-okay with it. I always talk to them beforehand. I say, hey guys, this is kind of my brand. It does very well on social media. I've grown an audience kind of as myself. and they're generally like, yeah, it's fine. But there are some people who have said, this isn't really our kind of shtick, I would say.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough. And it's hard also to gauge how many you didn't get because they just don't simply reach out, but they really like the amount of your audience or the amount of listeners, sorry, or what you're saying. So at least the companies that are with you are truly there because they like you. You know what I mean? There's no snake shit.
Exactly. And again, you're right in that, sometimes I'll just reach out. I reach out to a bunch of companies that I'm interested in. Mm-hmm. And sometimes you just don't get a response. You never hear back from them. Mm-hmm. And those are the companies where you're like, either they missed it or perhaps it's that my brand doesn't kind of align with theirs. Mm-hmm. And again, that's okay. But it's nice, when you do find a sponsor that really supports you wholeheartedly, because I think those are the relationships that really work well.
Yeah, that's a good point. How long did it take you to acquire your first sponsor? Roughly.
Yeah, so...
How many episodes?
It was... Couldn't even tell you the number of episodes.
60,
so this is
50? I don't know. How many are you at right now? I guess we'll start with that.
I think I just did drop the 104th.
Ooh, boy.
Yeah, so we're getting up there. Yeah.
Putting in work.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So I'll give you a quick timeline on everything. I started it beginning of 2019, so it's been about a year and 4 months or so.
Okay.
And for the first 3 months, there wasn't a lot of traction. I was still growing, kind of trying to find my voice, trying to figure out how to kind of perfect the show. And so the numbers were very small. Mm-hmm. And
did you feel a slump at any point?
I stopped. I stopped for a good 3-4 months, I would say. So I did it for about 3 months, 4 months. Stopped for like 3 or 4 because I wasn't seeing that growth. Right. And this was when I was still working at my job, and it was just taking its toll on me. I was very stressed, trying to do both. So I took a break from it, grew my audience a little bit more, kind of tried to get my presence out there on Twitter especially. Mm-hmm. And then from there I said, all right, I'm picking back up. I'm going to hit it really hard. I can't do what I've done every other time I've started any kind of venture, because I think a lot of people can relate to this. They start something, they're super fired up on it. Mm-hmm. It goes super well for like the first couple months. And then there's kind of a little bit of a slump and they move on to something else. Mm-hmm. And I was very much that person, and I hate to admit it, but it's true.
It's honest.
And then, yeah, you gotta be honest with yourself. And so like, a couple months had gone by where I wasn't putting out episodes. I still had a couple backlog that I was saving in case I did want to jump back into it.
Okay.
And nice. So I think three months and then another 3 months had gone by. And I was like, I'm getting back into this. So for a month, I was really going hard, really pushing it. Mm-hmm. And I saw a huge increase, downloads went parabolic. And I decided, if I can do this well while working 8 hours a day, I'm going to see what I can do if I quit. Mm-hmm. So a month later, I quit. That was in, I think it was July 30th. So 1 month later. And then I picked up my first sponsor in September. So August, September, like 2 months later, after quitting my job, going full time, putting in all of that effort. So technically, I think it was 9 months, but 3 of those I wasn't working. Another 3, it was part-time, kind of not putting in the effort I could. So I think, the last 3 months is when I really started putting in effort, decided I wanted to make a living off of this, or at least monetize it and have it be one of my streams of income. Mm-hmm. And that's when the first sponsor came in.
Brilliant. And sorry, go ahead.
Sorry to interrupt there. I'm just, for anyone who's out there who's trying to monetize in any kind of way, looking to work with companies, the first one 100% is the hardest. When I was reaching out, a lot of people were like, we're unsure how successful this is going to be. Mm-hmm. We want to wait until you've gotten a podcast sponsor under your belt. Mm-hmm. We can view the numbers and then we can let you know. And after that first one, shortly after that, picked up the second and the third. And I now have something where I can approach companies and say, this is how many downloads I got. This is how much engagement the sponsored posts on Twitter and other social media platforms are getting. This is what I can do for your company. And then it really just kind of, it's a snowball effect from there.
So I guess the first thing is, just lock down your first one and then move from there.
And I think I got vastly underpaid for that one. I would say that I did, compared to some of the other people who that company sponsored. After I talked to them, I realized that,
God damn it, I undervalued myself.
Yeah, but I think that was okay because, it got me that first one.
Yeah, your value proposition wasn't there, so the pay cut was fine,
Yes.
That makes sense, yeah.
And then from there it was, okay, now I can start, charging more. Now I can start working with bigger companies. And then again, that snowball effect, it kind of just continues to grow.
Perfect. And on the topic of money streams, revenue streams, you also do a lot of flipping on Amazon. Am I correct in saying that?
Oh yeah, that's a big one. I don't know if you have seen any of my posts. We actually started a Discord.
Okay. Let me go on your Twitter. I'll find it for the people here.
So it's actually capped right now. We're trying to work out all the kinks.
Okay.
We got it's
exclusive.
So yeah, we got I'd say 25 people in there right now. We're just trying to work out all the kinks.
Right.
But we've done I've done a couple episodes with people who run Amazon stores, and they've been pretty successful. And so I decided, let's create this Discord group.
I'm in your Discord actually, I think, or is that a new one completely?
No, yeah, this is a new one. That old one, I abandoned that one pretty much as soon as I started it. Realized it was a mistake.
Okay.
But this one's going to be like a full work from the ground up. We teach you how to start your store, all the struggles that we've kind of been through, and then we teach you everything we know about selling on Amazon. Because we want to help people. We always get questions. I get a lot of DMs about, hey, how do I sell on Amazon? I send them to the podcast episodes I've done, and they still come back with more questions. So this was kind of trying to free up some headache in my life, I would say, and then also be a little bit more hands-on with it.
That makes sense. And do you is the fire there, when you make a sale and you make 2-3x whatever the amount is, do you feel good after that goes through, or is it just a ABC mechanical sale? You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean.
Okay.
So I think when I first started, there was this huge fire. It was like, holy shit, I can make money just flipping stuff that I'm finding at stores. And this was completely foreign to me. And even when I tell people now, I've talked to a lot of my friends about what I do, and they're just shocked that you can go into a Walmart or a Home Depot or a Lowe's, and you can find products in there that you can then sell on Amazon and make money. And it shocks people. So that kind of shock and awe was there when I first started it. And I was very excited about it. And then, it kind of just becomes another thing. If you're looking at your Amazon Seller Central app, every day it'll just tell you how much money is cruised in.
Right.
And so as you're growing it, you start to see, all right, I made $200. I sold $200 worth of product today. Starts growing, and you just see, I have mine set up where I can see the week, and it just shows me how much product I've sold during it.
Yeah.
And you kind of get numb to it a little bit, but if you continue to grow your store, at first I was seeing one sale a week, and it was like a $50 item, and I was making $5.
And the effort you put into it was worth 100 times that, at least. You know what I mean? Got to go to the store, buy the fucking thing on special, then create an ad for it. There's a lot that goes behind the actual sale.
Yeah. So that was the thing. But it was still so cool just to see that, holy shit, I made money, even though I put probably more time into getting to the store. Not with gas and shipping and all that. It was still profitable,
your time
exactly.
Yeah.
And so that it was okay, I'm definitely not. I'm making $4 an hour or some shit. But it was so cool just to be I am now selling stuff that I just was buying in stores, and I knew I could scale it and grow it, and then turn it into something very profitable, even for the time. And like I was saying, you kind of get numb to it a little bit, but then as you continue to grow your store and you're like, holy shit, I did a, $20,000 month or week or whatever it is.
Oh,
You're like, this is insane. Like,
I'm a hustler, baby.
it's crazy, man. I don't know if you've seen any of the screenshots that I've posted.
I saw of your buddy. I'm not sure. Let me see if I can find it. Hold up.
It's a little bit deep by now, but he is blowing me out of the water, man. Like I'll have $500 days, I'll have $1,000 days.
Mm-hmm.
His last 30 days. I think it actually shows the last 28 days. The last screenshot he sent me, he sold 86 grand worth of product for the month. It's insane.
Okay.
So I think it's a little bit deeper on there. Maybe from a couple days ago when I first created the Discord, I was trying to just like get people interested. I was like, hey, these are some of our screenshots. Check it out.
Got it. Is that the 20.67 USD in sales?
Yeah. So that
83K.
Yes. So that one right there. That was the one that I posted, and he is absolutely blown me out of the water. I've actually learned a lot from him.
What do you think is I know there are probably many things or a few things he's doing better, right? What was the real like shocker for you? Like, oh fuck, I didn't think of that. Was there something that?
Yeah, so he has actually built up some really strong relationships with
suppliers.
Yeah, exactly. And I struggled with that a little bit more, I would say. Okay. And so that really allowed him to scale. And he, I have the podcast, so like that's probably my main priority. I don't know if it should be. He is devoting pretty much all of his efforts to this. He now has a van to go pick up product, like his own van just for his Amazon store.
Nice. So
he's got like
hustling.
Yeah, he like once we get people in this group, like they're going to learn a lot from him. I'm going to get like, I'm doing a lot of the basic setup things that people struggle with, a little bit more one-on-one stuff or hands-on stuff. And then he's going to really jump into, this is how you scale this into a full-time business where you're making, $10,000 a month just reselling stuff on Amazon.
And that's like $120K a year. That is a nice salary.
And well, so that's the thing, you look at the revenue and it's huge, 80 grand, but in reality, you're probably making between 10 and 40% of that. But if you think about it, 40% still
of 120 is 48K. Yeah, it's still good.
No. He's doing 80K in revenue a month.
Oh shit. Okay.
So that's 8 to like 30 grand a month in actual profit.
Damn.
Yeah. He's blown me out of the water. I cannot give him enough props.
What's he flipping? Face masks and TV?
No, so we both decided to stay away from that kind of stuff. Smart. We're not trying to really we're not trying to profit off
milk the exactly.
It's not for us.
You could, but it's not a good look. You know what I mean?
Right, like I'm torn on it because there are people who need this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And to sell it and ship, across the U.S., you're providing a wonderful service.
A service is dangerous to go out, but on the other side of things,
people are charging $99 for 2 things of hand sanitizer, and it's like you're kind of an asshole.
Dude, I had to give a hand job for toilet paper last week, man.
Like I don't know if you saw that article of the guy who went and bought out all of the hand sanitizer in his local area, and he had like
man.
I think he had like 30 grand worth of hand sanitizer sitting in his garage, and then Amazon pulled the plug. They said, you can't sell this shit anymore. And he's just sitting on it. It's like, dude, you're an asshole. Like, you went out. People no longer have that option. Like, you're a shitty person.
And the thing is, I think he eventually, the statement changed, so he couldn't sell it anymore. So he's like, I'm giving it to charity, or I'm giving it out, type thing.
Yeah.
So he's like trying to save face.
Exactly. I actually looked into a follow-up article where they talked to him after they had changed it where he couldn't sell anymore. And they asked him, would you do it again? And he's just like, yep, I would. And I was like, you didn't learn a thing, man. You really didn't learn a thing. Even though you're donating it now, like the fact that you would go out and do that again just like really speaks to you as a person.
Yeah. I'm actually, what do you think of that? How they imposed those laws on selling it? Do you think that's right? In in a capitalist society?
That's a tough one because we do have these laws, the price gouging laws that go into effect when, we're in a state of emergency. And I think it does help protect consumers. It's pretty fucked for
protect them from like at the end of the day, it's a choice, right? You choose to purchase toilet paper at 5x the price.
Yes.
I mean, I don't see how I get why they phrase it that way, but it's like it's a bit silly.
In a sense, yes. My one concern is like if you don't. This is especially for big business. For the smaller people, there's always going to be another person trying to undercut the price, especially when you're selling on Amazon. But for big business, if they're kind of allowed to run away with shit like this, and they're allowed to mark up their prices 300% when there's a pandemic, right. That then leads into collusion and them all raising their prices together, and that's where I think that some issues we can run into some issues. Online, if some dude wants to try to sell toilet paper for $100, I'm going to get on there and I'm going to sell it for like $7 and I'll make my profit and we'll find an equilibrium. I think the bigger issue is with kind of the bigger businesses who have control over the entire
monopoly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But I still think that guy's an asshole. Like, there's the reason being that,
he was the first asshole.
Right? Yeah. Like eventually there is an equilibrium that's found where like other sellers will list it because they see such huge price discrepancies and it'll find a lower price. But when this first started, this guy went and bought out all of this hand sanitizer in all of the local markets and stores and shit like that.
Damn.
So when people go to the store, they don't even have that option to get it for $2.99. They immediately have to go online, and this guy's the only guy selling it right now for $99. Eventually that price drops, but there's that time where people are out toilet paper, they're out, hand sanitizer, Lysol, wipes, that kind of shit. And it causes some huge headaches for just like the general population.
Yeah, man. Fucking interesting times ahead.
Right.
Have you found that this recent pandemic, has that affected your Amazon business in any way?
Yeah, in a positive and a negative way. So I can't send product to Amazon. I actually need to check. They said the 5th was when you'd be able to start sending stuff. You could send essentials still, but everything else was a no-go. Right. And so I kind of just put that on hold, decided to throw together, other stuff, get the podcast kind of back up and running now that I'm back from the road trip, and then build this Discord out, kind of learn the ropes from a couple other people who run similar kind of groups. So I haven't been on top of it with sending new product, which has been a problem because, you got to constantly be replenishing your store if you want to continue to grow and make money. On the flip side of that, everyone's at home. Everyone's trying to order as much shit as possible.
No, you can curse, kind man. I already said fuck a few times.
Okay, cool. So everyone's trying to, stock up on, they think the essentials, but then they start, buying more and more stuff that they realize, I can need this. People are also stuck at home. They're doing a lot of, retail therapy, I would say. I think this culture has a sick obsession with buying shit they don't need. And so I've seen, even though I haven't added any product, I've seen a lot of my slower moving product selling a lot more quickly because everyone's just hanging out at home. They've got money to throw around. Yeah, they got nothing to do. They want to start a new project on the home. They want to replace their faucets, yada.
What do you flip mainly? Can you talk about that or?
Yeah, so I mean, I've talked about it before. It's honestly anything and everything that I can find that is profitable.
That's fair, but it's useful shit, is what you're basically.
Yeah, so like when I originally started, my like big ones that I was going to were Walmart, Home Depot, Lowe's, and Kohl's. So like clothing was a big one, and then like a lot of home and garden stuff, and that was with the retail arbitrage stuff. So, I mean, now it's anything that I can get my hands on because I've started to realize, if I put it on my store, if I find something with the right sales rank and I put it on the store, it will sell and I will make money. So again, kind of just anything and everything. Trader Soros, the guy that I started the group with, he specializes on shoes. So he does a lot of Nike, Adidas. He's trying to branch out into beauty products, health and wellness stuff. But right now he does a lot of clothing and shoes.
Fucking trading Peter. When's Bagsy action figure?
I will sell it when you make it.
My bad. Let's talk after this.
I'll put it up on the store.
You're a sweet man. I don't know who would buy it, but fuck my mom fucking puts in 5 orders. I'm gonna support my son.
Right. I've had people reach out to me. They're like, "You should make some merch." I'm like, "Who would buy that shit?" Like, I wouldn't buy that. I don't think anyone I know would buy it. But they're like, "You should sell merch." I'm like, not for me.
When are you going to dox on your own podcast? Is that in the works?
So I put out the feelers actually not too long ago.
Really? Okay.
I did. I like tweeted something about potentially doxing.
How did that go?
I think it was received relatively well. There's a reason I'm not right at the very moment, and I can get into that in a second.
Because you don't want to lose another sponsor. I'm kidding.
No.
You don't have to. Yeah, go ahead.
No. I'm very okay with getting into it. It's just like me being cringe, but I wanted to explain, the kind of backstory on it first. Was I did a 3rd episode with Cold Blooded Chiller, CBS. It was an episode on trading, kind of being happy with your bankroll, how to be happy with your wins, and then it got into transparency. And I don't know what your stance is with the whole Jacob Canfield fiasco, but we talked about that a lot. And then we talked about, really solidifying yourself in the industry, and if it's necessary to kind of get your face out there.
Right.
When someone sponsors a podcast, it's nice to know who they're talking to. They feel a little bit more reassured when there's a name attached to it. And if you look at some of the biggest podcasts in the cryptocurrency industry, it's people who have their face out there, Peter, Pomp, Charlie Shrem, Luke Martin, those kind of guys. They all have their face out there. And I do think it does attach a little bit of credibility to it. And it's nice to put a name and a face to the name and the voice.
You're
so
right.
I was thinking about it. But as of recently, I have been talking about getting a girlfriend nonstop. And so for me to come out and post a picture of myself
I see the
after thirsting on Twitter for a month straight, I think it's just a bad look.
So I will give it another month. Then you're
right.
then
but
you're
the
good
thing
to
is,
go.
I'm just gonna keep tweeting about trying to get a girlfriend. So there's gonna be that I just got to do it eventually.
Yeah.
I'm also trying to figure out the right profile picture. I've been playing around with a couple of old pictures of me where I'm looking a little bit better, I would say. But just trying to figure out exactly what angle I want to go with. But I do think I want to get my face out there eventually.
Damn. Here's a thought. Your current display picture, just reproduce it with your own. I don't know if that's the look you're going for, but
I don't think I want to be bleeding from my eyeball.
Some ketchup or something. I don't know. You're creative,
right? Get some of those little blood capsules that you bite. It makes it look like you're bleeding from the mouth.
Exactly. That's funny.
Yeah, I don't know. I have because I used to work at a bank, so I wore a suit and tie to work every single day. I had my LinkedIn profile picture was me looking very professional. I don't know if I want to go that route because I don't want to be that suit that is trying to fit into the industry. It really doesn't fit my brand on Twitter and who I really am. I got a bunch of tattoos. I haven't worn my suit in 6 to 9 months or so. So I might just do a general, picture of me, maybe go hit a photo shoot or something, hit up one of Nye's guys. I know he was doing a photo shoot at one point last time I talked to him. So I got to figure it out.
Fucking Nick Core just said Charles doxed and he put a gif and some dude without a shirt dancing on the corner of the street with his pants pulled down. Oh man.
Oh my god.
Thanks for that, Nick.
Yeah, thanks, Nick. 1, 2. I met Nick at a conference and he actually doesn't remember me, which is hurtful. Very rude, very rude and hurtful in my opinion. Yeah, just want to throw that out there for everybody.
Damn. So maybe you don't want to dox after all.
No, it's gonna happen. What about yourself, man? Like you got this mask deal. I know it's part of your brand. There's this weird branding that comes with, being anonymous online. I think it's a little more mysterious and cool. What's your call? You gonna stick with the mask, or what's your plan?
Honestly, I think I'm gonna do it without taking it off. It's like, sure, maybe one day, but for the moment, I don't see how it would benefit me any more than I, currently am. Like, I'm very happy with what's going on, and I just feel that there is a certain amount of things become more complicated once you dox. And I know if I were to, I wouldn't have issues, but at the same time, I'm like, I'm just doing this for fun.
Well, you're the mask guy. Everyone knows you. Like, it's part of your brand. You're not the mask guy. That's not your only defining quality. But
thanks, Charles. Thanks for.
You're more than the mask.
I appreciate that.
But no, I do think it's like part of your whole persona online, and people kind of know that that's part of you. So I think for someone like yourself to ditch the mask you might take a blow.
Yeah, I mean,
I got nothing, I'm the bleeding eyes guy. Who the fuck cares about that?
That's funny. I have a quick question though. How have things been since you brought on a coéquipier, like a teammate? What's her name? Ashtoshi.
Ashtoshi, yes.
Yeah.
So
how has that been since you brought her on?
That's for the second podcast we started, the Crypto is Depressing podcast.
Okay, let's go on to fucking that one now.
Yeah. So that's actually, it's been cool. I didn't want to do that one on my own. We've actually talked about it on the show. I am a very, very happy-go-lucky person. I've never struggled with any kind of depression. I've never, I don't want to say I've never been sad, but I've never been like, devastated in life. I've been pretty privileged my entire life.
Understood, yeah.
But there are a lot of people who have reached out to me over the last year or so, have just said, I'm really struggling with this. Like, this industry is really getting to me. I might be leaving. It's caused a lot of headache and sadness. And so I wanted to start it. The original reason was, to be more myself. I get to have a little bit more fun on that show, poke fun at myself, poke fun at the guests a little bit. But then to also talk about the fact that, this industry is brutal, and a lot of people have capitulated. A lot of people have lost a lot of money. A lot of people have gone through some depressing shit. But at the same time, a lot of other people are also in that boat, and we're all kind of in this together. And we've all kind of made it through. We're still here today, which means we're still in the industry, or at least I think so. And so as a way for people to come on, kind of talk about their like crazy, depressing, whatever you want to call it, story, and share it with the community as a way to kind of laugh at ourselves and kind of grow. And so like I was saying, I've never really struggled with that real depression, and I knew some of these stories would get a little bit heavy. So I was like, I need a co-host. I want someone who's kind of experienced some of this kind of stuff so that they can kind of contribute to the conversation and share their experience and how to grow from it.
That's very smart of you, actually.
Yeah.
A lot of people would have just opened up the podcast and be like, hey, tell me about yourself, but not been able to relate in many ways, right?
Exactly. And I didn't want to do that because I'm there a little bit more for comedic relief, I would say. I like to poke fun a little bit more, laugh with the guests, make it fun.
Not making fun of them, but just like having a good time doing your thing.
Yeah, kind of trying to make light of some heavier situations.
Right.
But I wanted there to be that option to kind of, share the experience with someone who has kind of been through some of that stuff.
Right. It was seeing some struggles.
Exactly. Yes. So
cool,
for anyone who hasn't listened to that show, I'd say go listen to the one where I actually interview Ash. It really gives you some good insight into what she's been through in the industry.
Which episode is that? First, second, third?
No, I think we just.
How many of you? How many of you actually?
I think that one's under 20 or so. Like it's slow. We do once a week. We were doing 2 times a week, but that was 4 episodes or 4 shows, podcast episodes a week for me, and that was a little bit too much. So it's just 1 episode a week now. The very last one that we just dropped was the one that I did with Ash, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
And yeah, I think that was our 18th episode. I'm not entirely sure. just kind of trying to see if the community's interested in it at all. Have some fun, take up some extra spare time. What else am I doing with my life?
Nick wants to know, is Ash married? Irrelevant, but I'm curious, he says.
I don't know.
So that's a no, Nick. Go for it.
Nick's got a girlfriend. What's he doing talking about
shit.
this?
He's like, okay, I'll ask her.
Yeah, go talk to her, but don't you have a girlfriend, Nick?
Oh, he's single now.
Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. That's kind of dick move.
Congratulations, bro. Good stuff, man. But
yeah, congrats, and sorry if you're still going through it. Maybe you should come on the show. We can talk about it.
Next episode on Crypto is Depressing. But
my girlfriend left me. That's the kind of stuff
that's what people want to hear,
Yeah, like it's stuff like that. Like I'm gonna be real honest real quick. Like back in 2017, I was dating somebody, and me being so obsessed with crypto definitely led to the downfall of that relationship. And so, we've all been through that kind of shit, and it's just like a fun way to come on, share with the community, have a laugh.
Yeah, it's like,
Nick,
you're not alone.
Reaching out. Yeah, exactly.
You're not alone. People have hurt. He's like, no.
Okay, fine. I won't reach out.
He's like, my girlfriend life is a Netflix documentary, not good for podcasts. But all that to say, Charles, I'm really, really happy to hear you're doing well, and that your ventures are going well. If any sponsors are listening right now, make sure to check Charles out. And I know you're very busy, so we'll cut the stream here, but it was fucking great. I appreciate you, brother. And
sorry, go ahead.
No, that's cool.
The podcaster in me just wants to butt in and talk, and I'm sorry.
I would rather you talk than me, so all that to say, thank you.
I really appreciate it, and thank you for having me on. These are always fun. I like going on other people's shows because I got to be this, I'd say, serious kind of stuck-up dude for my professional crypto entrepreneurs podcast, and it's really nice just to come on and like have a casual conversation.
And yeah, I feel you're welcome anytime. It's always less stressful when you're not the one recording it.
Right. I don't have to deal with anything. I just click the link, I jump on, you got to deal with the rest of it. It's super nice.
Exactly. So it was a pleasure, man.
Definitely. And I know we had talked about it. I do want to get you back on for a follow-up episode.
Absolutely.
So for anyone who's listening right now who's interested in that follow-up episode, we are going to talk, we're going to DM each other, and we're going to get it sorted. Should be out soon.
Sounds good, man. So to everyone listening, thank you so much. Make sure you check Charles in his podcast, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.
Really appreciate it, man. Have a good one.
You too. Cheers.